Foreign Affairs Minister Sibusiso Moyo has passed away after contracting COVID-19. The senior government official had tested positive for the viral infection 2 days ago. He died in hospital this morning. Moyo is well known for being the key communicator in the coup that removed former President Robert Mugabe from power in 2017. President Emmerson Mnagagwa has described him as a devoted public servant and a hero. We are hoping to be joined on the line by Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF spokesperson here in South Africa, Kennedy Mandaza. Is Mr. Mandaza there? All right, he's not on the line, but we're hoping to chat to him in a few moments' time just to get a sense of what legacy Mr. Moyo, who was the Foreign Affairs Minister at the time of his passing, but a man who spent his youth already in the struggle for the liberation of Zimbabwe, and then spent a lot of his career in the army before becoming a civilian and joining government and serving in President Emmerson Mnagagwa's government. Well, let's hear from Mr. Mandaza right now. Mr. Mandaza, thanks very much indeed for joining us. So I would imagine Zimbabwe and a number of Zimbabweans sad today.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. As Zimbabweans, we are hard done, we are sad, and like anyone else, the passing on of an individual, be it a minister or anyone, brings somber memories, and that's what you find in the majority of Zimbabweans. Let me take the opportunity to express my heartfelt condolences to the President of the Republic, the entire ZANU-PF leadership and members, the Moyo family and fellow Zimbabweans on the sad death of the retired Lieutenant General S.B. Moyo. We have lost a humble, hard-working and committed minister and a Pan-Africanist whose desire was to see Zimbabwe become a player in the global village.
So a lot of people perhaps will have first come to know him when he appeared on Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation to talk about the imminent departure of the then President Robert Mugabe. But he had had a career that actually started as a youth in the liberation struggle. Take us through his early days where many young people gave up their youth and joined the struggle against the Smith regime.
You would agree with me, Peter, that during the 70s, it was not easy in Rhodesia then, and it needed courageous people, courageous young men and boys and women who would then go at the battlefront to fight a regime that was bent on ensuring that the lives of the majority of the black Africans in Zimbabwe, Rhodesia then, would continue to suffer. And we, at that time, that is when the late retired Lieutenant General S.B. Moyo, at a tender age of 18, at a tender age when he was in Form 3, he decided to join the liberation struggle. And he did so in order to liberate Zimbabwe, which he did with distinction. And after that, he went on to be attested in the Zimbabwe National Army, in which also you would agree with me that he did so many things. Among them, he became an accomplished scholar and attained a number of degrees. And he distinguished himself also as a military man to the point that he grew within the ranks. And it is for that reason that we saw that on the day that many people came to know about him, he was taken into the forefront to announce the imminent departure of the former president. And he did it with great aplomb, and they averted what could have been danger or scuffles that could have happened. And we give credit to the manner in which he handled the World Press Conference and also how he calmed the people so that the events of 2017 could continue, could go ahead without any incident like we witnessed at that time.
So how do you think he should be remembered, and what might his legacy be?
After 2018, the late Lieutenant General was appointed the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, with a major focus on engagement and re-engagement. And this was done solely because the President, Comrade Emmerson Mnagagwa, saw in him a man who would assist in bringing back Zimbabwe into the global village using his international diplomacy which he had, and he would also use his skill to rebrand Zimbabwe, reposition it as a member of the global village. And for many of us who saw him executing his duties, the legacy, the things that we have learned from him is hard work. That's one of the things that he did so well. He was a hard-working man. He was committed to seeing Zimbabwe become a member of the global village. He was selfless. He was honest. He had this desire and passion to see Zimbabwe develop and become a player in the global village. This is the legacy that many of us who are left behind should take upon so that we can build Zimbabwe, run with the baton that he was running with, to make sure that Zimbabwe becomes a member, a player of the in the global village with repute. And this was his passion and desire, as shown with the manner in which he did all his work as a Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. Over and above that, he's a man who wanted so much development in the areas in which he came from, Berengwa. But not only that, he was also a unifier amongst many of the cadres and the people that he worked with, which is something that we would want to see among the young people and the generality of Zimbabweans as we move forward.
All right, so you've given us a good sense of his work ethic and how he approached the tasks at hand. Perhaps in conclusion, if you could just give us an idea of what was he like as a man, just an ordinary human being?
Well, I wouldn't say much in as far as what he was like as a man, because he's a military man, which means that he grew up being a disciplined man. He is an individual who was selfless. Although he interacted with people, he was sociable, although a little bit on the quiet side. But over and above that, he was a scholar. He was a scholar of repute. He needed to understand more about Pan-Africanism, and he showed it in the manner in which he dealt with other people on the African continent.
All right. Mr. Mandaza, the ZANU-PF spokesperson in South Africa, thank you so much indeed for joining us, and our condolences to you and the people of Zimbabwe. Namatambudziko.
Thank you so much, Peter. But more importantly, let me also add the fellow Zimbabweans and Africans on the continent that COVID-19 is real. Let us mask up, let us social distance, let us stay at home as much as is possible and follow protocols that are being stated by our different governments, because COVID-19 is real.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mandaza.